It's unbelievable. I mean, who are you? What you are pretending to be if you behave like really animal without any morale? This is each year and each line here. That is a decrees issued by Russian imperial power until the 1989. So until the Soviet Union, each of them completely forbade Ukrainian language. So each time they issue documents saying in this Russian Empire, the Ukrainian language is not allowed to speak, not allowed to read. All books must be destroyed. You can't teach in Ukrainian language. You can't sing in Ukrainian language. You can't pray in church in Ukrainian language. Each time, since 1720, 1721, that's when Peter the Great announced Russian Empire. So that's the great of when Russian Empire was born. So even before that, you see, each time, each emperor or empress, government, prime minister, doesn't matter, of Russia or Soviet Union, they try to completely destroy Ukrainian language. So would you be surprised, but then Ukraine became independent in 1991, we took measures to protect Ukrainian language, to develop Ukrainian language, to make it usable, to make every official in Ukraine speak Ukrainian language. I can tell you from my personal experience, I spent 29 years in the Soviet Union. I graduated from so-called Russian school. What does it mean? That means all subjects in this school are taught in Russian, except one, Ukrainian language. So you are able to learn Ukrainian language, but all subjects, mathematics, physics, geography, biology, everything was in Russian. At the same time, school exists when it was opposite, Ukrainian schools. So what I'm going to say, that we were comfortable, it doesn't matter, or it was absolutely nonsense to say that Russian language was somehow suppressed in Ukraine, or somehow neglected. It's absolutely lie. But now, yes, because of all this, we have to protect our language, and we do so. And we are very happy about this. And we will insist on this. As I told you, we do not need special courses in Russian if you speak Ukrainian, because we spoke the core language, the mother tongue. Russians came. It's no problem for us at all. But Ukrainian must be protected. And any claim on opposite on Russian side, that's another lie which is Moscow is so famous. Finally, you see this picture. Again, those familiar birds, right, in Japan, cranes, similar in Ukraine. This is symbol in Ukraine, symbol of our families, of our dream about home, about peace, about land, and that is what we are going to protect. As I usually say on Twitter, we know what we are fighting for. I don't know what Russians are fighting for. They are fighting for crazy criminal whose name happened to be Putin. But they were before him, they will be after him until this empire exists. We don't want to kill all of them. We don't want to destroy Moscow. Let them be. But let them be at their home and their land. And so I would like you to be sure that we will liberate Ukraine. We will reestablish, rebuild our country. No doubt about this. Resolve of Ukrainian people is absolute. And if you ask, we have polls in Ukraine conducted by many different organizations, Ukrainian and foreign. More than 80% of Ukrainians are fully resolved to continue this fight. That is why we very grateful to support of our friends and partners, specifically to G7, to the European Union, to those who supply weapons, to those who introduce sanctions, to those who provide financial support. Our deepest gratitude to Japan. You have to know that government of Japan, local authorities in Japan, people of Japan, is a huge support to us. We are very grateful to each one of you for this support. I'm very grateful to this university, which was able to take Ukrainian students, and for Nippon Academy, which took Ukrainian students. We have probably almost 50 universities in Japan who already admitted Ukrainian students. This is an asset. I would ask you, Japanese students, to make friendship with Ukrainians, build bridges. Ukraine is a great opportunity for Japan as economic power, potentially very well situated on the Black Sea. We just need to move Russia back to Russia and stay there and build together the world where peace will prevail, and where neither China nor North Korea nor anybody else will even think to begin an assault on its neighbor. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Time for our message. Okay, now we come to Q&A sessions. Let us see the question from the participants. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, thank you very much for your lecture, Mr. Ambassador. I was really shocked by what is happening in your country, but I was really glad that I could learn your country's history. So my question is, what part of your country's history are you most proud of? Tell us, please.
The future.
The future of your country.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much.
Who else?
Hi, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. I'm glad I could attend here and I could learn a lot about your country. So I'm Hareka Ogiwara. I'm in my senior year and my major is social studies. As a social study major, I have a question. The curriculum of social studies in Japanese junior high school does not include anything about Ukraine. If you could provide one lesson about your country, what would you provide? What would you recommend us to teach?
One lesson.
Sorry.
I would recommend a workshop how to make peace. It's so enlightening when you do that. You will feel Ukrainian soul from when you do this, because it's so unusual you paint an act, right? But when you do it, you will understand a lot about composition, about technique. Very old one. I mean, it is not that done by robots. Done by very precise work, and that's very, I think, will help you to feel Ukraine by your heart, kokoro, you know.
Thank you.
We're just gonna have one more question from you.
So thank you for your very impressive lectures. I'm glad to be here and hear your lecture. So I'm Yu Kokubo. I'm majoring in English education here. So as an English major, so I'm very interested in the system of English education in Ukraine. I met and talked with some of the students from Ukraine. So they spoke English very fluently. So how does the English education system work in Ukraine? So please tell me.
very painful question in Japan, right? In Ukraine, we have, I don't remember when, but it happened probably more than 10 years ago. There was a decision of Ministry of Education. From now on, English will be learned in Ukrainian schools from the first grade. So when we have 7 years or 6 years old going to school from the very beginning, they study English. And in our, and later on, it's more and more, and definitely it is not just because it is imposed on children, but they feel necessity to do so, because we see ourselves as natural part of Europe. If you are natural part of Europe, of course, you need to speak European languages. It is not just English, but you will find majority of Ukrainians after university, they know at least 2 languages. It could be French, it could be German. In Lviv, everyone speaks Polish, for example. I mean, it's naturally. Ask them whether they are pushed to learn Polish, right? I mean, it's like you're born in Lviv, you speak Polish automatically. Like in Zakarpattia, in very western Ukraine, in mountains, everyone speaks Hungarian or Slovakian. That's because of our history. It's because of we are very open to those European interactions with European neighbors. But English is a language of international business, it's a language of science. This is very important if you want to succeed, because as you probably noted, I happen to have a degree in mathematics. So in my previous life, I was a researcher with applied mathematics. And without English, you are absent. You do not exist in the world of science. So therefore, it is absolutely obligatory to speak not just some English, but English which will allow you to communicate, to write, to deliver a lecture. It is absolutely paramount priority. And Ukrainians would like to succeed. It's absolutely natural for them to study English. But I'd like to add as well that in Ukraine, we can probably more than 10, if not 12 universities where we have professional studies in Japanese, which is very unusual.